Today I want to talk about divorce, separation, or the possibility of breaking up. If you've been wondering if it is time for you to let go, you have to ask yourself if you've already tried everything, right? Because I will always first say, try to work it out, try to heal, seek help, go to therapy, go to counseling, seek out a pastor, do everything in your power to make it work. If, however, you are still at the point where you find yourself still unfulfilled, first you have to ask yourself, is this emptiness coming from myself? Am I expecting the other person to provide what I should be providing for myself? An example, validation, that I'm doing a good job at work, at home, whatever it is. Do you not feel worthy enough if you don't get the praise from your loved one? Another example could be the person isn't doing all the things that you want to do. Okay, so here's a better example. Let's say you love to go jogging or hiking, but your loved one, your boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, just isn't into that. Well, you know, your husband, your loved one isn't supposed to fill every single role. That's why we have friends. That's why we have family. That's why we have cousins. That's why we're supposed to make new friends, because one person is not supposed to fill every single role and every single desire that you have. It is so beautiful to get out there and have multiple friends, multiple different groups, so you can hop between activity to activity. You know what? You guys want to go bowling? I'm really not into that. So, you know, or whatever, like your husband cannot be everything to you. That's the point that I'm trying to make. And when we try, we're forcing the person to become who we want them to be. It's only going to cause strain. Now, if you're catching yourself, well, we don't really do anything meaningful together anymore, well, then that's when you guys have to reignite the flame and the fire and find each other again. But before you can find each other again, you first have to find yourself. Really dig deep into your truth. What is it that you are needing, that you have put the responsibility on the other person? That is really not their responsibility. Your responsibility is to fully and completely love yourself and be your own source of fulfillment. The other person in your life is supposed to bring and add value to the value that you already are. So if you can't see yourself as a strong individual doing amazing things in the world, if you don't feel like that's you without the person, then that's just a sign that, hey, you probably should continue to love yourself even more. And loving yourself, I used to hate that. What is that? It's such an overused term, but in reality, it's one of the pillars of our lives. It's probably like the most important pillar of our life, because it will shape and direct our lives into how we are within ourselves. So if you're thinking of maybe going through a separation, it's not easy. It's pretty hard, because it completely destroys all the hopes and dreams and plans that you had. However, if you know that it is holding you down, if you feel like you are living under the palm of another person, that they're not letting you be, and you're not able to create and just show all your light and all your colors, and if that person isn't loving you for who you are and not letting you show up in your own empowered self, then you're always going to feel suppressed. And if you can't get past that, I am living testament that if you do go through a divorce or a separation, well, not separation, but like a breakup, you're gonna be okay. In fact, you're gonna be way more than okay. You're going to go from survival to thriving, because when you create a huge life change like that, you decide to separate from the person you thought you were going to be with for the rest of your life. yeah, it's gonna hurt, it's gonna sting, it's gonna rewire your brain, and it's gonna mess with your emotions. You're physically gonna be tired, because our minds and our thoughts are tied into our physical well-being. So you're going to go through that process, right, of healing yourself, doing the work, as I like to say. But then you're going to reach a point where your self-esteem is going to skyrocket, and you're going to start showing up doing the things that you've always wanted to do. And you're going to have self-esteem work, like, well, I used to feel insecure about doing this because, I was always hoping that my loved one would prove to me or show me that I am worthy enough to do this. And well, she kind of never did. And so, I depended so much on her opinion and her attention to me. And so she must be right. I may not be, good enough for X, Y, and Z. And once you get rid of that, you have to cleanse the negativity out of your life, because you can do it. Because you are worthy enough, because you are more than good enough and talented enough and creative enough and smart enough and clever enough. It's all in here. It's all in here you have conditioned yourself. The people around you have conditioned you to believe that you are not enough, that you probably should be thinking of doing other things. However, if that desire is in your heart, it was probably put there by God. For some reason, you have that dream inside of you, and it's not going to go away until you do something about it. So if you have to separate from the negative people in your life, then do so, knowing that, yeah, it gets worse before it gets better, but it gets better. Focusing on, I know it's going to get better. This is only temporary, and you will be so much happier in your life. You've got to give it time. Remember, healing takes a lot longer than what we hope for, than what we think we need in the time of healing. But it's just like cleansing your life, and I'll just say this last thing, like if you're with a toxic person, and you'll know it, because if you can't show up as yourself and you feel insecure about yourself, or you're so worried about the opinion of the other person, then yeah, you're in a toxic relationship. Because anything that you want to do, they should be your number one cheerleader. They should be pushing you. They should be supporting you. And if they're not going to push and support you, then they're just not going to say anything, because they're not going to want to get in your way. So it's scary to go through a separation, but in due time, you will be living one of your best moments of your life.